Orisa can make you win games, as long as you play her right. She's a niche hero that can't be played almost all the time like Reinhardt or D.Va, but she definitely works well on the ladder if you know how to get the most value out of her, which is not that simple. I've been playing Orisa since I started Overwatch 9 months ago, and have accumulated 60 hours with her. I'll be honest, I consider myself very decent with her. By recently, a couple of my teammates accused me in a game of being clueless, and I took that critic as an incentive to look closer at my gameplay and get better at her. So I need your help. In this video, I'll review one of my recent tie defeat with her on Rialto. I will analyze my play as best as I can, pointing out the blunders and mistakes and using the knowledge I've accumulating from my experience and a few guys I've watched that are linked in the description below to find what I should have done. But since I'm still an average player, I won't be able to see everything, and I'm counting on you to point out what I've missed and what I could have done better. So please don't hesitate to leave a comment with a timestamp or go on Flowfeedback to make a full review of my game. It will help me a lot and I'll be most grateful. Also, at the end of the video, I'll put together a short list of most of the advanced things there is to keep in mind while playing Orisa. Tips and tricks that are explained in details in the videos I mentioned, including some advices from the Orisa GM main Evil Toaster. But without further ado, let's jump into it. Hey guys, my name's Alex and I'm on a Grandmaster journey. Can anyone reach the top tier of Overwatch? The answer in this series, with weekly updates, gameplay reviews and study sessions to follow my baby steps towards Grandmastery. So if you're interested in my progression and in learning with me how to get better at the game along the way, consider subscribing and clicking on that bell icon to make sure to be notified of all my future content. Alright, before anyone says it, I know that picking Orisa on Rialto attack with a Rein in the team is not the best choice. Literally any other tank would have fit better in this comp, but since Orisa is the only tank I can play at a decent level at the moment, I used her. And right off the bat I missed my shield throw which should have landed on the payload. But my team can still push it thanks to Rein, and I throw another barrier on the payload this time to cover our progression. It would probably have been better if I put it on the other side to let Rein recharge his shield safely, but luckily the enemy doesn't seize that opportunity. Again, this barrier is not optimal. It covers two angles which is important, protecting me from Roadhog and Hanzo, but it's out in the open and I don't have cover to run to if my barrier goes down. A better place to put that barrier would have been on the left side of the payload. And as predicted, McCree, who was hiding in the right alley, lands a few shots on me. Immediately I use 45 to avoid taking too much damage and to be able to go aggressive and finish off Hanzo before facing McCree. And thanks to my healers, the payload nearby and Genji, my team killed the two enemy DPS. My Rein went too far and died, but we still have the advantage. I build my ult by shooting at Roadhog and try to always stay behind the payload and my barrier while pushing forward. But I miss my throw again and it leaves us in a complicated situation, especially since our Genji goes down. I use 45 preemptively here, expecting some heavy damage from Zarya, but I wasted hiding behind the payload instead of going aggressive. Then another bad barrier position, right behind the payload, too timid and completely useless for me to be able to keep pushing. My Junkrat got the two enemy healers with his ult, and my Rein is back, so we should be able to finalize that first point push. My Rein gets melted by Hog's ult, and I could have saved him by positioning my barrier in front of him. But I use that barrier to pop up my supercharger and finish that low Roadhog, while my DPS wipe out the rest of the enemy team. When the enemy is on the high ground, I should always try to pull them off with halt. The key to succeed at this is to throw the ball from angles from where they can't see it coming and can't dodge it, like in this case. Too bad we don't capitalize on that and I die by Mora's coalescence while falling back. The engagement is kind of problematic for us here. To reach the payload, we have to cross the bridge which offers no cover. Rein and I should have coordinated and go together, but I get impatient and make a few mistakes in a row. First, I waste my heart hoping to pull someone in the river. Second, I used 45 too early when no one was shooting at me. And third, I threw my barrier in the middle of the bridge, protecting no one but me and while I still had 45 on. Here, a way better tactic would have been to do an aerial shield deployment like this, before going in with 45, which would have put a lot more pressure on the enemy since my second barrier would have been available only 2 seconds after the first one had landed. In order to get rid of our Genji, the whole enemy team backed off around the corner, and it allows my team to take space. We use the mobile shield to put a lot of pressure on that Reinhardt, and once again, Junkrat does a good job at facilitating our progression with his Riptire. Where Pharah and Moira try to support their Rhine, but they don't coordinate their ults, and with the help of my supercharger, we get another couple of picks that will open the path to the second checkpoint. I tend to wait until I pull the trigger on my heart before shooting, but actually to truly optimize the use of this ability, I should move my crosshair and start shooting before pulling enemies. Those kind of little optimization will make the difference between a decent Orisa and a good one. So I need to work on that in the training ground and make it a reflex in matches. Once again, I use my 45 preemptively, thinking that Ryan will be a threat, but he is not, and I wasted my resource. Huge mistake here, because if I had my ability available, I could probably have survived Reaper's ult. It's useless to attack here, Messi and Zen are down, we should fall back and regroup. This engagement is also kind of tough. They're defending the choke point, and with Junkrat and McCree, we have no flankers to distract the enemy team. The Pharah and our Zen waste their ults, but now that we know that they don't have offensive ults, we go for the push. I don't support my Rhine enough here and then get picked by Pharah and Reaper in the backline. I should probably have retreated inside the room with my healers to avoid Pharah's shots, but I would probably have died from Reaper's shotguns nonetheless. My biggest mistake was on the engagement itself. I should have go more aggressive and stay with my Rhine. I'm just feeding the enemy team here. I should have run back to the spawn room. For this last fight, my team mixed up the cards, swapping to Winston, Lucio and Soldier. Winston dives in and creates some space for us to push the payload. I waste my heart here thinking that Zarya would get pulled, but she's bubbled and I have to use 45 to save myself. My team gets some picks and it allows us to push, but once again my timing for that 45 is off, and I take 0 damage while using it. Again, I should have held for a few more seconds and it would have saved my life from Pharah's barrage. Here I die and take away all our chances to push any further. On defense with Orisa, you can try to pull people off the bridge, but most of the time, being highly predictable, enemies will dodge it. So here I will try to hold the corner while looking for opportunities. I switch to Hammond and Tracer, and that will definitely be a problem for me since their mobility is a big threat. Luckily that Tracer is not that good. Once more, I use my Fortify at the wrong time. With such a long cooldown, I should be more conservative with this ability, especially since the effect doesn't last long. The use of a supercharger was probably not that necessary here. The enemy is not really engaging and they can pull back to safety. But it serves as a deterrent and made my team earn a few seconds, but clearly not the best of use. In the Graviton Surge, instead of waiting for my barrier to come back, I could have used my Fortify to get out of it and then find a better angle for my barrier. Since I get confused on who I should target, I decide to retreat, and thanks to the great job of my healers, I survive. But my Roadhog is not that lucky. And after losing both my DPS, I can only retreat with my healers on the bridge, which will allow the enemy to push, and even if we try a last stand before they reach the checkpoint, we'll lose the whole battle and the point. Not sure if I could have done something better here. Any ideas? Maybe try to finish that Brigitte that was low, but Mora popped Coalescence and would probably have saved her. Try to fall back towards my healers? Let me know your suggestions in the comment section below. I get gangbanged here. I was obviously out of position and alone. I didn't pay attention to my teammates' positions and focus on those DPS while I should have just retreated through the other door. We lost the second corner already and try to defend near the stairs now. Once more, a complete waste of my 45 since I was behind my barrier and there was no direct threat to my health. So when Zarya uses Grav, I don't have the extra protection and my barrier alone can absorb all the damage. Then, while trying to retreat, my team gets wiped out. same mistake over and over again. I used my fortify to no end. Plus, my barrier was not well placed, and I didn't throw another one in the air to anticipate the pressure that the enemy will put on us approaching the point. On top of that, my next barrier is way too forward, and the enemy walked past it. I'm obviously panicking here, not sure who to focus and what to do. I walked away to deal with that Genji, but I had to reload, and instead of moving forward to stop the payload, I don't realize we're about to lose, move away, and that's C9. Everyone was fighting all over, but it's mainly my mistake for not spamming that group up button and stopping the payload further away. That last part of the game was horrendous. I made a lot of huge mistakes and could have done so much better. Maybe even win the game. To my defense, I could say that I tried to hold before the door, but I didn't receive enough support from my teammates, and if I didn't fall back, I would have died instantly. But that's only true because I wasted my 45 a few seconds before, and I didn't use the shield stacking method. So looking at this game, to summarize, I really need to work on my 45. I wasted most of them. And also, I should learn shield stacking. As promised, here's the list of all the things that are noted on my wall on a post-it for me to keep in mind while playing Orisa. Those don't cover all the basics, just some advanced stuff. You can learn more about those tips in the videos linked below. And if you think about anything important missing in my list, please let me know in the comment section below. And that would be it for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave it a like. It helps me know that I'm on the right track with this series. Also, if you haven't done it already, consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon to follow my journey to Grandmastery and be notified of all my future content. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember losties, lose SR, not your mind. Tip of the day. As Orisa, you need to know when to fall back. Keeping your distance is essential, so when you have to run away, stop shooting, turn around to protect your massive head from critical hits, and run to the next corner. If you can throw a barrier in the air on the way, even better. Try it on and let me know if it works for you.